Definitely a scary time for the overall market today. We can see all the indexes pretty much closed on the red. S&P 500 was down 1.5%. Nasdaq was also down roughly 1.5%. And if we take a closer look online, these are pretty much all the headlines we're going to see that stocks closed lower, mainly due to the protest happening in China, and it's kind of overall affecting a lot of tech stocks. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about my overall mindset and how I see this, especially since I'm such a huge tech investor. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
All right, so for those that are not familiar, over the weekend there have been a lot of kind of articles and videos coming out online where we're seeing huge protests in China, especially in some manufacturing plants. Here we can see this quick article from Bloomberg mentions that Apple to lose roughly 6 million iPhone Pros from the kind of events that are happening. These production losses will affect Apple's most in-demand phones. So there's a few things happening here. First, we can see how Apple is directly impacted with this, but we're also seeing a nice amount of tech stocks also kind of pulling down. For example, we can see Apple today was down roughly 2.6%, but even one of my semiconductor favorites, Qualcomm, was down 3%. Qualcomm does provide some solutions for Apple, so we can see how this kind of indirectly is affecting companies like Qualcomm and other suppliers of Apple. We can see Skyworks, another one that is a huge supplier of Apple, was roughly down 1.8%. We also see one of my favorite semiconductor companies, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, roughly down 2.6% today. And AMD doesn't really supply anything to Apple when it comes to the iPhone Pro, so there's no direct comparison here, no direct reason why this stock is down. But it does seem like maybe investors are a bit fearful that maybe these protests might grow like wildfire and it might impact more manufacturing plants down the line, which can cause all these other tech stocks that kind of make most of their production overseas in China kind of see a reduction in there. So there's that added risk at the moment. So I mentioned I'm a huge tech investor. I want to say probably over 95% of my portfolio is all stock-based, tech-based. So am I worried with something like this? So first, when I hear news like this, especially something fearful, I first try to calm down and try to understand two things. First, how might it impact on the short term? Second, how it might impact in the long term. If you're enjoying the content so far, make sure to hit the thumbs up as it does help me grow my overall audience. If you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. Also, if you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, make sure to check out my podcast channel. The link is down below. Episode 4 was just released, so make sure to watch that as well. If we take a closer look at the short term, we can see companies like Apple, right? They can definitely see maybe not a huge hit, but they can definitely see some form of volatility, especially like this, right? We saw that Apple is to lose roughly 6 million iPhone Pros from the overall protest. Now, in the long term of things, and that kind of situation can happen to numerous tech stocks, right? Where it might impact minimally in the short term of things. So we might see huge volatility in stock prices. But then I start to think about the long term of things. And when I take a closer look at long term of things, for example, for Qualcomm, yes, they do supply chips to Apple for some of their iPhones. So again, in the short term, they could experience pain and kind of experience this volatility we are seeing in the stock price. But in the long term of things, I don't see this being too fearful. And when I'm taking a closer look at long term, I'm thinking about years plus, right? Multi-year time frame. I don't see this causing a rift or an issue into companies like Qualcomm, into companies like AMD. So again, I think it's always important to understand how your time frame is in investment, to understand how some of these news might impact. When I see news like this, for me, this is pretty much just noise at the end of the day. I have a multi-year time frame, so nothing here worries me. So let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts? Is this something that you're super worried about? If so, let me know why. Maybe I might be overlooking something. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.